media to report this accordingly. Mortuaries are getting filled up not because of COVID-19. In Lagos, we have not recorded more than 18 cases to date, so it certainly cannot be because of COVID-19. The only reason the mortuaries are getting filled up is because funerals have not been held in the last 2 months or thereabouts. I'm also now constrained to make this appeal to all Lagosians who have corpses of their loved ones in our mortuaries to please go ahead and schedule these funerals. Let me now make it clear that funerals are on the list of activities exempted from the lockdown restriction. You can hold or attend your funeral ceremony in Lagos State as long as you comply with the requirements that we have laid down. And for emphasis, I will reiterate them again. That we do not have persons at any funeral, including the officiating religious leaders, not exceeding 20. Physical distancing must be maintained at all funeral ceremony. All attendees or mourners must wear a face mask and must ensure that they wash their hands before or after the ceremony. There must not be any form of parties or reception that will accompany these funeral ceremonies. And be rest assured that as long as you keep to these directives and you fully comply with them, funerals will be allowed and they'll be encouraged to take place immediately. If we are unable to see a decongestion of the mortuaries across the state within the next 2 weeks, Lagos State government will now be compelled to seek to have a mass burial. And we don't want to force this on anybody, which is why we're asking for the cooperation of all of us. This is not a time where you need to wait for your brother or your sister or your sibling who is 10,000 kilometers or 6,000 kilometers away from here for them to come back before you can have the funeral. These are very difficult times, and I imagine that families and relatives and siblings will understand that we need to have this and we need to put this behind us. So we're reiterating it again that we'll give a 2 weeks window and we'll expect a lot of people to comply, after which the state government might have to take other directives and take other decisions in that manner. Regarding the face mask, you know that I've touched on these issues a couple of times. But let me now formally also announce that face mask, like I did mention earlier in the week, will now become a compulsory thing that we must wear at any public gathering. We are currently producing millions of these face masks from our various tailoring companies, and it presents a great opportunity for businesses, for all these small, medium-scale businesses to contribute to COVID-19, and it's also a chance for them to make good of their businesses and to earn some money. So once we collect the first batch, which I think will be coming in tomorrow or next, we'll start distributing to our citizens free, but certainly cannot go around everyone. And so that's why I want to appeal to members of the organized private sector to please patronize first these local manufacturers and purchase these masks for distribution to your workers and staff immediately. I will also want to urge everyone to please leave the medical grade N95 mask for the use of medical workers who need this most. All of us who are not medical workers should not be wearing the surgical mask or be wearing the N95 mask, because we do not need to have that level of sophistication to wear a mask. And that's why you've seen even us in Lagos State, we have started complying with such a directive. It's something that we believe that can be produced locally. It's something that we need to encourage our own local economy. And it is really just so that you can protect both yourselves and other citizens. If I am a carrier, for example, I can contain the spread within myself, and I will not be able to transmit it, just to anybody. And so if I can wear it and you also wear it, it will slow down the spread of this virus, and I think it will do all of us a great good. On a final note, dear Lagosians, in exercise of my powers conferred on me by Section 212 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, I have this afternoon, following the recommendation of the Advisory Council of Prerogative of Mercy, signed a release order releasing 209 inmates remanded in our various correctional centers in Lagos. This was done in part to decongest the correctional centers in view of the COVID-19 pandemic, and is also part of a larger effort to bring lasting reform to the administration of criminal justice in our country. The beneficiaries of these releases are the following. Some of them are over 60 years old. Some have less than 6 months to go on their sentences. Some have served over 95% of their sentences. Some that are serving for just minor offenses, and some that are found to be physically or mentally challenged are part of the list of the 209 that have signed the order for their release today. So in the spirit of this season, I want to appeal to all of us who are privileged in this period to carry on in this spirit of kindness and mercy, and endeavor to extend a hand of kindness to all those who are less endowed around us, in our compounds, in our estates, in our neighborhood. I think it's also a season of giving, it's a season of compassion. I know that many people are already doing this, and I want to encourage even more for people to do so, to share meals and to share love and kindness. To be privileged in this situation does not necessarily mean that you are rich or that you have more that you need. It simply means that you are able to share out of what you have, and you want to just bless others. So in this spirit of Ramadan season, I want to encourage all of us that in the spirit of the sacrifice, that will extend sharing and will extend giving to our fellow citizens and our neighbors and our friends. Once again, I want to pray for all our Muslim faithfuls in Lagos State, that you will experience the fullness of the blessing of these holy months. Amen. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll have a couple of questions. I will try and also summarize what I've said in Yoruba, and I think one of my colleagues, I will also ask him to come and explain in Hausa, especially for our Muslim brothers who are of the northern ethnic group, so that we get this information right down to everybody. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Mary Alale Yusuf from Channel Television. I want to ask, this lockdown, is it coming to an end? And if it does come to an end, have you done enough groundwork during the lockdown to tide you over in this fight, such that it doesn't get out of hand? Then, because of the many reports of COVID-19 patients who have found themselves in private hospitals, are you looking at allowing private hospitals, or should I say teaching private hospitals, how to have a high index of suspicion so that there will be less infection. Maybe like have a special consulting room for suspicious cases so that they don't infect other people. Then lastly, within the 2 weeks allotted for funerals, are people going to be allowed to travel from other states to attend, or will it just be reserved for people in Lagos? Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ade Doja from TVC News. This might go to Prof directly, the Commissioner for Health. We heard that COVID-19 is more transmissible in cold weather. As the rainy season approaches, should we expect more transmission of COVID-19, and what should people do to protect themselves this time? Then to Mr. Governor, Alimosho is one of Lagos densely populated area, I mean to say. Since the discovery of COVID-19 in the area, what are steps taken so far, aside from setting up the 6 sampling centers in the area? What are the other things to stem down explosion from this area in Alimosho?
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Yeah, my name is Kayode Ladengi from Silverbird Television. In clear terms, because typical of our people, we would like you to be more, to be clearer on the issue of wearing of nose masks. What exactly is the punitive measure? Is it going to be a community service? And what exactly will it attract if they do not comply? Thank you, sir.
Mr. Governor, can you hear me? How about now? Better? Better. Okay. I'm as close as I can. Okay. Mr. Governor, my name is Adefemi Akinsanya from Arise News. Governor, during this lockdown period, we've seen lots of citizens here in Lagos State take it upon themselves to try and feed as many people as possible. We've been speaking to them, we've been following them on their journeys, and the consensus that we've been hearing is that there's been some type of difficulty in terms of crowd management. Is Lagos State prepared to help these individuals, help these groups with police intervention, military, to help them manage crowds? And also to the Health Commissioner, Professor Abayomi, in the spirit of dispelling myths and confirming truths, we've been hearing lots of information on WhatsApp. We heard a voice note earlier today from somebody saying that they were an employee at the NCDC here in Lagos, and she said that recently there'd been a collection of samples for many people in the Amur-Odofin area, and said that of those 40 samples that were taken, 25% tested positive. Can you confirm or deny those facts there? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Governor. My name is George Okuja, I write for Leadership Newspaper. There is information out there, sir, that the surge in Lagos is caused by the use of fake test kits in Lagos. That is why the number in Lagos is increasing. So I wanted to clear this.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I'll start with Mary. The lockdown, is it coming to an end? And have we achieved what we should? So we gave regulations. It was the federal government, it was the president that gave the instruction on the total lockdown. And so we have 2 more days to go. So I would advise we just keep our gunpowder dry. Let's see what happens, on Monday as its further pronouncement. But we have our own list of regulations that will be peculiar to Lagos alone. On Monday that will be rolling out, either way, which will speak to some of the things that you're asking. So the other question is, are we teaching the private hospitals, So Hafama, we're currently also reviewing. So what we've done is there's a protocols that have been sent out to private hospitals amongst themselves. I mean, it wasn't a public information, but they have it amongst themselves on the protocol list. If you want to become a COVID treating hospital, meaning if you want to take COVID patient into your facility and you want to treat them, there's a protocol that they've shared amongst them, and they're going through that protocol, which I imagine will be things around the personnel, the quality of the staff that you have, and what kind of training they will require. So once all of that is identified, I'm sure working with the Ministry of Health and NCDC, they will be able to wrap up, the training if they don't have in those facilities, and they will certainly need to have gone to inspect those facilities. As our farmer is the agency of government that is doing that, and I think that they've actually they've given approval to 1 or 2 already, and I imagine that's how they've been working the protocol. But the commissioner is here, and I think he can also still speak, to that. But I know that they've sent them a list of protocols of the things they need to do, the things they need to have for them to be able to admit or treat a COVID patient. Will we be allowing people to travel out, and is it only for people? To be honest with you, it's only in Lagos. We will not be allowing people to travel out of Lagos. All our neighboring states, you're aware, they've also locked down. So what we're doing is we're doing everything internally. Is intrastate, is not interstate. We do not want any movement of people coming from other neighboring states into Lagos or vice versa. All of the movement around all of the external model parks have been shut down. They're not meant to be doing any movement in and out. And so it will be burials inside Lagos. And you see, these are very difficult moments for all of us. That's why during my speech, I did plead that there are families that they will have siblings or they will have relatives that are not even in the country, that they will have wanted, to wait 3 months, 4 months before sorting, but we don't have the luxury. We need to take a decision now, and it's now. And so that's what we're giving out. So they can't take them out. It has to be done here and just end it like that. Thank you. Adidoja, should we expect more? Okay, I think you asked something around Alimosho. What are we doing in Alimosho area to stern, because it's huge population. So in Alimosho, apart from designating it as one of the local government that have been collecting the tests, we have more people collecting tests there. We've also identified an isolation center in Alimosho. We've identified an isolation center in Alimosho, and we're just going through the protocols now to make the place active, such that we can also either quarantine people or isolate people in that area as well. It's the same with everywhere. Yes, it's a large population that we have there. We'll continue to plead that it's still the same social distancing. We will not treat them special from other local governments, but they even have more testing people there than other places, so that we can go into the community and bring out the cases. I think that was the first question you asked. I've forgotten. Should we expect more transmission or something? Should we be expecting more transmission?
During rainy season.
Oh, during rainy season. Okay. I think the commissioner will answer that. I think it was actually for the commissioner for health. Kayode, what's the punishment for if you don't wear the face mask? So what we want to do is, before we begin to talk on extensive punishment. We want to be able to see how we pass around the mass that we're producing to as many vulnerable people as possible. You know, we're currently doing about 2-3 million. So how many people get to have one? You know, and all of that will happen this week. And so I've also given a directive that private sector companies should, you know, as a matter of priority, produce for their workers and be able to patronize local companies. The state government alone cannot, you know, wrap up everything. If you are in a private organization and they can, it's all locally made and they can, you know, so it's only how we watch the event in the next, you know, with regulation, as much as possible, you want people to freely comply. You know, you don't want a system where you're just waving, you know, sanction for sanction state. Let people self-comply, and it will help all of us, you know, because that way they get ownership of it and they can self-regulate themselves. But in the event that we do not see, then the sanctions will come, and they can rest assured that it will come. Yeah, crowd management for people supporting us, it's very important. I have actually commended a few of them, and I've actually spoken to 1 or 2 before now. What I would do is, at the risk of putting her on the line, there is a cabinet member who is actually in charge of volunteering all of this activity. Her name is Sholape Hammond, and her telephone number is 0706 215 7665. Sholape Hammond, 0706 215 7665. So they can call upon her. We can give you all of the support. If it is security, if it is neighborhood watch that we need to give, we can very well, she can very well coordinate it, and wherever it's needed, she can make them available, because she's also the one coordinating our entire volunteer corps. So there's a news going on that the numbers are going up because they are fake test kits. No, they are not fake test kits. That's why, if you realize that we refuse to use all of those fast test kits, we never use it. We're doing what we call a molecular lab test for each and every of our cases, right? The numbers we knew, that's why I rolled out our strategy. It was a next level of strategy that we got into, which is, after doing contact tracing, the next level is to go into the communities. And so we also push the testing centers or the collection centers from 3, we've had over 20, 30 now. So once you go into the communities, you will certainly, we're doing door to door. We've done over 1 million households, right? So we're doing door to door to be able to get them out and be able to correctly, you know, analyze. So the percentage will show. Once you are doing a lot more testing, you know, from where we're doing testing of 50, 100, we're doing 500, 600 now, right? So it's just stand to reason that the percentage will go up. It's just proportional. It will also go up, and that's the only way we can, you know, see what the curve is doing and how do we quickly flatten the curve. So it's a strategy that we knew we're going to get into, and we're attacking this strategy head on. And thank you. Do you have a mic for the commission? I think there are 1 or 2 questions. Huh? Let him just answer the question.
I think the question around the effect of the rainy season. Well, normally we would, the effect of the rainy season, normally we will see as the weather cools down, we normally see a higher transmission of viruses that cause upper respiratory tract infections. So it just makes the situation a little bit more complex. It doesn't mean that every upper respiratory tract infection is caused by COVID. Right now, we see about 20% of people with upper respiratory tract infections in the Lagos community is caused by COVID-19. So there are a variety of other pathogens that can cause the same symptoms. There was a question around the story emanating from Amu Odofin. Well, we don't know the identity of this person, and the person did not identify themselves. This is just information that is in our opinion, irresponsible. We do know the percentage of our tests, and we've published that before. For every 10 tests we do, we see between 2 and 3% positive. So we know our positivity, and we're not sending out panic information. That is our consistent positivity. It has been the same now for a few weeks, and that is what we're finding even with our increased active community search. So please try and ignore those kinds of information. They just cause panic. It's of no use to the community. Confine your information to information that's coming from legitimate sources, the Ministry of Health, the Lagos State Government, and NCDC. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I will just take a few minutes to explain this address in Yoruba. Ekason gbogbo ilé ìta tí ń sọ ní èdè wa ní àsìkò Ramadan tá wà yìí.